story appears ordinary till you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is the story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
Good evening and welcome to CoreTV Primetime News. I am Ebulomo Adekunle. In our major story, President Goodluck Jonathan worships in Lagos, thanks the clergy for prayers for national development. Also in this program, the All Progressives Congress accuses the PDP and others of planning to engineer another shift in election dates. Lagos State Governor Babatunde Fashola decries stalling of Osborne jetty construction by court case. And outside Nigeria, thousands rally Moscow to mourn slain opposition politician Boris Nemtsov. President Goodluck Jonathan says he appreciates the prayers of clerics in the nation at a service in Lagos. The president, while acknowledging that the nation has had its difficulties, lauded church leaders for their fervent prayers. He, however, noted that the unity of the nation has been sustained by their prayers, urging them to continuously seek the face of God on behalf of the nation.
President, it's a part of your ministry of the world, but because of your prayers, please, you are still living. The country is still relatively stable. And of course, with your prayers, with our own community, I assure you this extremism for our so that our nation will move forward. God is also good because we depend so much on good oil, and the oil prices are coming down. We have to share the economic issues. But with our prayers and commitment from government, we will surely go through. So let me use thank my brothers and sisters for your prayers for the nation, for your prayers for all of us, and to promise you that we'll do our best to make sure that as a nation, we go from strength to provide what government should provide for the peaceful existence of our communities. Thank you. Good morning again.
Meanwhile, President Goodluck Jonathan met with some youth groups in Lagos and responding to some of the questions posed by the attendees on the issue of security. The president said the federal government has received 65% of weapons it ordered to execute the fight against insurgents. Responding to questions on the epileptic power supply in the country, the president says it will be a thing of the past within the next 18 months. The All Progressives Congress has raised the alarm over what it describes as the relentless scheming by the Jonathan administration and the PDP to push for another postponement of the 2015 general elections unless they can perfect a rigging plan, and called for the imposition of global sanctions on whoever scuttles the polls. In a statement issued in Dubai on Sunday by its National Publicity Secretary Lai Mohammed, the party said the multi-pronged efforts to prevent the elections from holding as rescheduled include the use of some 23 portfolio political parties to seek a further shift in the election date and the destabilization of INEC's election plan through the orchestrated removal of its chairman, Atahiru Jega. It said the same 23 satellite parties of the PDP that were used to push for the 6 weeks postponement of the elections have again started testing the waters by pushing for a further shift in the elections in the 6 states of the Northeast, ostensibly to allow the conclusion of the counterinsurgency battle and also to allow those displaced to return home. The party said while the 23 parties are pushing for the elections to be further postponed, the Jonathan administration and the PDP are simultaneously forging ahead with their plan to remove Jega and replace him with a malleable acting chairman whom they believe will do their bidding. APC wants that the consequences of another postponement of the elections will be dire indeed, especially because it will create a constitutional crisis that is capable of endangering the country's democracy and destabilizing the country in its entirety. The party called on Nigerians, especially the civil society, to be very vigilant in the days ahead as the cloud of uncertainty becomes thicker and the vultures begin to circle. The All Progressives Congress has assured Nigerians that it will not introduce any harsh tax regime if its presidential candidate Muhammadu Buhari wins the March 28th elections. It says it will rather use existing tax policies of government to fund its people-oriented programs. Spokesman for APC's presidential campaign team, Garba Shehu, said in a statement that under the Jonathan administration, the Nigerian people and the business community are already reeling under multiple discriminatory and harsh tax regime. He added that an APC administration will make life more bearable and manageable for both the citizens and the business sector by entrenching discipline in public administration across all sectors of governance. Shehu also noted that the party will plug all loopholes through which public funds are being lost and ensure there is reasonable funds for its social investments programs in education, health and safety nets, including free school meals. Meanwhile, the APC presidential campaign team has described the sudden emergence of field queues in the Federal Capital Territory and some parts of the country, as well as the reduction in the hours of electricity supply across the country as sad reminders of the failure of the PDP at the center. The party wondered how a political party which has been in power for 16 years and which is unable to ensure that its citizens enjoy regular fuel supply and steady power supply is confident enough to seek another term in office. APC insists in a statement issued in Abuja that the failure of the PDP government in the two areas is a sign of gross ineptitude, maladministration and corruption. The People's Democratic Party says there is no plan to clamp down on opposition figures with private jets. It says the only plan it is working on is to humiliate the All Progressives Congress on March 28th. Spokesman for PDP's presidential campaign organization, Femi Fani-Kayode, said this in reaction to claims by APC of a crackdown on its leaders. He also called on Nigerians to question leaders of the opposition and how they acquired their private jets. Fani-Kayode noted that it will be interesting to know from the APC how these leaders who either occupy public offices or still occupy public offices acquired jets. This is because of the moral high ground the opposition is always holding on national issues. With the increasing tempo of political campaigns ahead of the forthcoming elections in Edo State, the People's Democratic Party has taken a swipe at the presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Muhammadu Buhari, for refusing to open up to Nigerians on his alleged overstay in the United Kingdom. Dan Obi, the Edo State PDP chairman, who was speaking to members of his party at a rally in Ugwobazua in Ovia Southwest local government area of the state, challenged him to return to the country and is continued with his campaign. A correspondent who was at the rally filed in this report.
Dan Obi was welcomed to the rally by a huge crowd of party faithful and support group amid celebration in Ovia Southwest local government area, expressed satisfaction at the turnout of members and members of the All Progressive Congress with their brooms waiting to decamp to the PDP. He noted that Nigeria has no alternatives apart from PDP in the quest to continue to deliver on the gains of democracy, while maintaining that a vote for Jonathan means progress and continued development.
Not in London. Even your governor has taken us to London. Amechi is in London. All of them, they've gone to London. But they have refused to tell Nigerians the reasons why they are in London. I challenge Buhari to come back and continue his campaign.
Among those who defected is a serving commissioner in Governor Oshomole's cabinet, Denis Idahosa, amongst others who dumped the APC. Dan Obi maintained that the continuous defection of the APC members to the PDP is a clear indication that APC was finished.
Tell Edo people why they are bound to lose this election and will help him. The reasons why they will lose Edo State is that Edo people are tired of his lies. Edo people are tired of his government. Anything that is not founded in truth cannot stand. Oshomole's government is a government of deceit, fraud, and dishonesty.
Many of those who defected later threw away their brooms before embracing the umbrella as the chairman of the party led others to a dance.
As the 2015 general elections draw near, the various political parties in Imo State have continued to put strategies in place to ensure success at the polls. Though there are other parties involved in the race, it seems for now a PDP versus APC contest, with the PDP governorship candidate Emeka Ihedioha going on a regular offensive against the state's government. Campaigning at a rally with a former governor of Rivers State, Peter Odili, Ihedioha says better days are ahead for Imolites.
My federal government.
And for his part, Peter Odili urges the people of Imo to vote for the People's Democratic Party. The war of words between the All Progressives Congress and the People's Democratic Party in Kwara State has again started, with accusations and counter-accusations of involvement in political violence flying between the two parties. Rashid has more in this report from Ilori.
Barely 3 weeks ago, with the elections just a few days away, the specter of political violence in Kwara State became unbearable, with daily attacks and allegations of attacks by the two major parties, the APC and the PDP. But the postponement of the election seems to have brought down the temperature and frequency of violence, but the allegations have started coming again. This time, the All Progressives Congress in the state, speaking through its chairman, Ishola Balogun Fulani, says the state chapter of the People's Democratic Party has formed a 21-member war council ostensibly to destabilize the state and create chaos, calling on the security agencies to be aware so as to prevent a breakdown of law and order.
the state chairman of the party, Akogun Iyola Oyeyipo, openly declared in his speech that the party, PDP, is at war in Kwara State. He went further to ask the leader of the party to form a 21 war council member of the people who are professional in this field, and went further to suggest names of people who understood the science of security and professional training. List of the war council member is hereby attached. It is here.
But for his part, state chairman of the People's Democratic Party, Iyola Oyedepo, the allegation by the APC, as he says, is laughable. He stressed further that since the party is not at war with anybody, it does not need a war council.
It's true that we had a meeting about a week ago with our limelight leaders. The meeting was just to refocus our campaign strategies. And there it was suggested that we should have a strategy committee which can be called more or less a war council. And if you notice the people who are suggested to be members of that committee, you cannot even see a retired general there. You can't see a retired police officer there. So what kind of war, in any case, are these people to fight? It is rather a war of ideas, because we have gotten to a level in Kwara State where ideas must contend.
He, however, admitted that the party recently formed a strategy committee, which he says is not a war council, but one designed to ensure that it emerges victorious in the coming elections. Rashid, CoreTV News, Ilorin.
All Progressives Congress candidates for the Lagos West Senatorial District in the 2015 general elections, Olamilekan Adeola, says the calls for the use of the military to provide security for the 2015 general elections is unfortunate. Adeola, who spoke to journalists in Lagos after a meeting with the American Consul General Tom Hines, says the provision of security for the elections is a strictly police affair, wondering why the calls for the involvement of the military has become an issue. He added that the issue should be how to equip the police properly rather than taking their duties away from them.
There is any need for the military, whose responsibility is to provide security for us during the electioneering process. It's no other person than the Nigerian police. Are we saying that the men of the Nigerian police has failed in the discharge of their duty if one of their primary assignments, they cannot carry this assignment out? So let them be better equipped, let them be better processed, because one of the main reasons why we have postponed this election from February 14 to March 28 is as a result of lack of security. And the only security we're referring to is the Nigerian military, who earlier assured Nigerians that they are prepared and ready for this election. But immediately after the Council of State meeting, they came out and said they need 6 weeks to fight insurgents in the northeast. And that is, and as such, they are not ready for this election. And the question is, we can't continue like this. And that is why we have stood our ground and we are saying the military has no role to play as far as election is concerned in this country.
For his part, the American Consul General Tom Hines says the United States is only interested in the elections because of its desire for the country's continued development. He added that he hopes for free, fair and credible elections to consolidate the nation's democracy.
Well, that's a really difficult question. I think you rightly pointed out that Nigeria is early in its democracy and it's developing, and like I just said, you know, the hope for free, transparent, and credible elections where people can go out and choose their leaders without the fear of violence is the most important thing. And I'm sure if that is achieved, that Nigeria's democracy will flourish. So I think that's about all I can say about that.
It's the CoreTV Primetime News. We'll take a short break and we'll be back with more reports. Don't go away.
From time immemorial, women have birthed life, shaped character, and by extension, influenced the society. Moremi of Ife, Emoten of Benin, Queen Aminat of Zaria, all women of influence and power.
Whether it's before election, after election.
How ironical. Women being so powerful, yet have few grounds in decision making.
They see you as a wife, and I see you as a wife to a man.
We are talking women in politics.
A woman will be bold enough to stand up and say, I want to become president of Nigeria.
Only on CoreTV News.
Many thanks for being there. And if you're just joining us, it's the CoreTV Primetime News. And here is a reminder of the major stories. President Goodluck Jonathan worships in Lagos Church, thanks the clergy for prayers for national development. The All Progressives Congress accuses the PDP and others of planning to engineer another shift in election dates. Lagos State Governor Babatunde Fashola decries stalling of Osborne jetty construction by court case. And for more news and other information, you can visit our social media platforms. On Facebook, facebook.com/CoreTV News. Tweet at us at CoreTV News NG. And on YouTube, youtube.com/CoreTV, never space, then news. Publishers of an Abuja-based newspaper, Nigerian Pilot, and its editor-in-chief, Dennis Sami, have paid an undisclosed sum of money as part of terms of settlement with the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Atahiru Jega, over libelous publications. This was after the INEC chairman sued the newspaper over a report which it claimed was an expose on alleged dirty deals in the commission. Jega had demanded a retraction and public apology, as well as 700 million naira as general and aggravated damages. But when the matter came up before the Abuja High Court in December last year, the parties informed the court that negotiations were on to resolve the matter. Now the parties have finally agreed to terms of settlement by which the newspaper and the editor-in-chief have published a retraction and apology in 3 national newspapers, the Nigerian Pilot, This Day, and Daily Trust. Jega's lawyer, A.B. Mahmood, has also confirmed that the defendants paid an undisclosed amount as part of settlement. Lagos State Governor Babatunde Fashola says catching up on the infrastructure deficit in the country will require that the larger interest of the masses be the primary consideration in the provision of social amenities. Fashola made this call while speaking to journalists after inspecting the Osborne jetty, whose construction has been stalled due to a court case instituted by residents of Osborne Estate. He also inspected a reclaimed park in the area.
Real deep irony of the other issue that we discussed. You don't want a jetty because you claim that your area is a residential area, but residents have to move, don't they? Now, this is a green area by the freeway, and we, in our planning and urban development, this thing, it's a green area, and we decided to create an open park here, plant trees, so that residents, adjoining communities can come and children can play here, families. I mean, you see all these parks across the world, and you see, in fact, if you look just behind you there, you see a child playing on concrete tile. Look, just look. That boy is playing football right on the road. It shouldn't happen. You see, and you see a car coming. Now, if we had built this park, this is the place for football. And so this is a tragedy of the choices before us. But unfortunately, again, trying to create a green area, what do we have? People want to build here. And so we're just going to have to apply the law now and do what we need to do. Some claim that federal government gave them land. Federal government has no title to land. The Constitution does not give federal government land. Land is a residual matter in all the states. And that is why even if you look in the Land Use Act, you will see that all the states of the Federation, the governor is the trustee of the land for the people of that state, not the federal government.
Thank you, Excellency.
As motorists in other different parts of the country continue to lament what they described as artificial scarcity of petroleum products and the rise in price against the official price, especially that of premium motor spirit known as petrol, queues have gradually returned to filling stations in Lagos. CoreTV News visited some of the filling stations in the city to fill the pause, with many motorists at loss on the sudden return of queues and what this means for their daily activities.
We never thought of it that it's supposed to be like this. It has happened at Lagos. At the same time, we perceive it when we are at Ibadan, a day before yesterday. But it's not something that we can bear anymore. It's also give a sign that this economy, that's why we are still a country that we are producing. We are among the people that having this crude oil. We are not supposed to be having maybe experience this kind of fuel scarcity in Nigeria.
I don't even like this situation of the scarcity of fuel. I don't like it because anytime they want to reduce the fuel price, they will make sure that there be scarcity of fuel. I don't know.
I just came to get fuel out of church and I ran into this. For me, I think it's really very stupid because there's really no reason for it. Yesterday, I was watching the television and I saw petrol scarcity in Abuja and I thought, what is all this about? But I just heard this in the station now that they want to reduce the pump price. Now, if you want to reduce pump price, does it not make economic sense for you to even sell than to hoard? I don't understand it.
Like this morning, okay, I'm traveling now, so I've been to 5 different filling stations before getting here. So I was surprised to just met the whole place deserted. So except that's why I had to queue. So and we've been on this queue now for about 1 hour now before getting to this spot. So I believe government has a major role to play in this matter. So, and I believe if government can just wake up to our responsibility and do something about it.
The fuel situation in Ilorin, Kwara State capital, is not different, as for 4 days, most filling stations say they do not have the products for sale to the public. Opinions, however, differ on what is behind the current scarcity. Our correspondent Rashid presents his findings on the issue in this report.
Residents of Ilorin, the Kwara State capital, have faced the harsh reality of fuel scarcity due to what many of them say they do not know. For their part, officials of the independent petroleum marketers said the scarcity is due to recurring problem of the comatose nature of the Ilorin depot of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation for lifting of petroleum products. State chairman of the association, Rashid Olopade, says the valuation of the naira is also another issue. He added that marketers now do what he called bridging to get products, leading to scarcity and increase in price of products.
The scarcity is conspicuous. Even if you are dead, blind and dumb, everybody knows there is scarcity of petroleum products in Kwara. And it's not unconnected with the fact that Ilorin depot is not loading right now that I'm talking to you. Once we are not loading in Ilorin, that one has pronounced fuel scarcity. So that is the first thing. And what's led to that, first and foremost, is we heard from the NNPC officials there were line breakages between Mosimi and Ibadan. If Muslim doesn't have fuel, or Ibadan doesn't have fuel, definitely Ilorin Depot will not have fuel. So it's not unconnected with vandalism along the line.
A visit to some filling stations who have the product in the city shows that it's only available for 100 naira, which is 13 naira above the official price. These motorists lament the hardship they are currently going through.
There's a problem for us. We didn't get the fuel. So maybe we get today, we will not get tomorrow. That is the problem. It's a problem for us. It's not good. They're supposed to sell it by 87. It's okay for us because that 100 naira is not good now. So if they reduce it, it's okay.
Olokwade, however, says they buy from private depot at prices above the official price and that the loss of demand and supply has to take its course.
You see, the issue of price in oil industry is too political. Political in the sense that if you want product to be sold at certain rate or price, the only thing you do is to make it available in avalanche. Once the product is not available and you are talking of price, we are insincere. My point that I've been saying since the scarcity came in was make product available in your installations at NNPC depot. That depot belongs to every Nigerian. And every Nigerian can say, wow, what is the official rate? Wow, you pick product from NNPC. Why are you selling at this rate? But the product that people went borrowing to get it at private depot in Lagos to be brought at their own risk and determining or dictating the prices of those things, we are not sincere.
While the passing of the buck and what is actually behind the fuel scarcity continues, most Nigerians will only hope that what is fast becoming a nationwide scarcity will not linger more than necessary. Rashid, CoreTV News, Ilorin.
Rain has been identified as a thing of blessing, especially in the side of the world where the greater population of the continent are engaged in land cultivation. While some were elated at the first droppings of the rains in the city of Jos, others lamented the hardship and other risks they will have to put up with now that the rains are here. In this special report, CoreTV News takes a look at the advent of the rains in the city of Jos in Plateau State.
The rain has been viewed among the black race as a sign of blessings, and it brings joy to every community at its inception every year. In the days before Western civilization, and even now in some communities in Nigeria and Africa, sacrifices and oracle visitations are made whenever the rain do not come on time. And as the rains come in other parts of the country, joy was the overwhelming emotion in Jos as the first rains of the year.
I see this is the first rain we're experiencing on the plateau. This rain will help us to reduce the hot weather. The rain also reduces the dust that the hazy nature of the plateau during dry season like this. And there are a high number of water ponds where mosquitoes are breathed in. So I believe with this rain, it will wash away all those areas that are experiencing some small ponds that we have water lock.
Some of the expected blessings enumerated by Jos City dwellers include reduction of mosquitoes, commencement of farming activities that involve tilling the ground, dust and heat reduction, and best of all, availability of water in the wells, because Jos City residents experience water scarcity during the dry season.
I'm so happy because the weather was very hot then. Even when the assignment place, I was just sweating. So I'm so happy seeing this rain. The weather is very lovely now. I'm so happy.
Personally, I actually think that the rain is first of all a huge relief actually to us, the residents of Jos, owing to the fact that the weather for the past 2 or 3 weeks has really not been favorable. The temperature has really been high, and I think
this rain is a good thing to farmers in Plateau State. And as farmers, we encourage ourselves to take advantage of the first rain and clear the farm so that we can sink into action.
On the other hand, some residents who are engaged in activities that rains can affect negatively did not welcome the first rain of the year with much enthusiasm because they believe they stand to lose with the advance of the rain. Complaints made by them include, among others, drippings of rains through the roof into their houses. For those who are still building structures, they fear rains may lead to the collapse of their buildings.
in just today is a blessing, we can say. To farmers, to us, because the weather has been hot in Jos. And with this rain, I want to believe that it will be cold. Though the first rain has, it's washing up everywhere, it's dirty. You can see the gutters are dirty, the roofs are dirty, it's cleansing off the dirt from the roof.
Is it actually supposed to be a sign of relief for most of us? But we that are into poultry business, the showers like this normally bring a lot of, especially now that the bird flu issue is, along the corner. And possibly the heat, assuming now, there's a possibility that a lot of issues will affect with the poultry farmers. Apart from that, there are even these mob bricks are flaked and have not finished the building, and the possibility of the building collapse is what makes me not happy for the rain. Thank you.
For those who are into poultry farming, the fear that the prevalence of bird flu in the country may be worsened. Whichever way it may be viewed, rains are blessings to the African people due to our subsistence farming and agrarian way of life, while the people will need to make necessary adjustments for the season until the return of the dry season.
The birth of a child is generally seen as a thing of joy anywhere, but for this mother of two who now has to shoulder an additional responsibility of taking care of a new addition, a triplet, it's joy mixed with burden. Rashid presents this report on the plight of Bose Afolabi, whose husband has vanished into thin air.
It is a common practice for many Nigerians who give arms to women with multiple children from a single delivery. And for this woman, who has a 1-year-old set of triplets looking like a 3-month-old, she will surely catch anybody's attention. She loiters around the governor's office in Ado-Ekiti and gave her name as Bose Afolabi. She narrates her story.
The first husband that I have 2 boys for him, but the man is no more alive again. After some years, I met this man that I have the triplets for. So when I had the pregnant and he talked to me that he marry me, and I asked him, do you really want to marry me, or you are he said you want to marry me? Well, and I said okay. So when we are moving together, so and I have the pregnant of the triplet for him. So after I did not see him again, and I went to the house that he's living to go and meet him again to talk to him. But when I get there, they have packed away.
With the major issue afflicting these triplets from a casual observer seen to be malnutrition with the possibility of others too, some of her benefactors speak on her plight.
The first time I saw the triplets, I was so moved by their situation. I asked her why she's not being helped by her mother-in-law or her relatives. She explained her predicament. And I have since then been given the little I can afford for them in food and in cash alongside other people.
I don't have anybody that can even help me for anything, but it's only God that is helping me. I'm not working.
With the heart-wrenching nature of her story, CoreTV News went a step further to see why her relatives or that of the husband are not lending a helping hand. But where she stays is not only a church, but a faith home where she was delivered of the triplets over a year ago.
We accommodate her, saying that is our old member. We continue to pray. That time the pregnancy was 5 months. So she was with us till she put to bed on February 1 last year. February 1 year 2014. She put to bed, even by the special grace of God at home here. You see, anyone that God gives the blessing that can render help, we beg them.
When what is supposed to be a bundle of joy becomes a burden, the question is, what exactly is the system doing? And in the case of those triplets and their mother, which happened to be a very good case of a dilapidating system, there is nothing which can be done but for good Samaritans and Nigerians watching to come to their aid and make a better livelihood for these children who knows nothing of this system but are experiencing the harsh side of it. Rashid,
CoreTV News, Ado Ekiti.
Thank you, Rashid. At this point, we take another break, and when we come back, it will be with business, sports, and other stories from outside Nigeria. Stay with us.
Every day, every hour, and every minute, news break in Nigeria. Things happen so fast, it's most times difficult to track and comprehend them. But that's what we do right here on Digi360. 2015, would you want to come back again?
It's like asking Jesus Christ if he knew he was going to die, will you want to come back as the savior of the world again?
We do not just help you track the stories, we break them down, explore all the angles, analyze the issues so that you can fully comprehend the stories and use them to make the right decisions.
To business, the Federal Capital Territory Administration has approved the commencement of work on the 700 billion naira Abuja City Center project. FCT Minister Bala Mohammed, who gave the approval, however, urged the developers to ensure strict compliance with development regulations in addition to abiding by the timeline and financial plans. Mohammed also advised the developers to ensure due diligence tests to avoid incidents of contract collapse. However, disclosed that the FCT administration would enjoy 5% equity shareholding in the Abuja City Center Development Company Limited, which is to own and operate the project. The investors, for their part, said the project would be completed in 4 phases in conjunction with a Dubai-based developer, Eagles Hills. And to sports, Kwara State's government says Nigerians must begin to see football as something beyond entertainment. State Governor Abdul Fattah Ahmed says for the nation's football to develop beyond the present level, those involved in the administration of football must look at the concept of public-private partnership. The governor, who was speaking while playing host to the chairman of the Nigerian National League, Emeka Ngama, who was in the state as part of the Super 4 competition, Ahmed stressed that developing football through the public-private partnership could be more beneficial to Nigerian football.
I want us to begin to look at football beyond what we are looking at in Nigeria today. If we can give it a very strong public-private partnership, it will enable us to take the advantage of the expanse opportunities that this can give us. These are areas that we have not exploited at all. There are resources available. If you look at the zeal, if you look at the enthusiasm that people put into getting to go and watch football either in the stadium or on television, on how they discuss it, on how they are willing to even put a bet on it, it tells you that the potential for investment is huge here. If properly channeled, it's huge. If properly channeled. It is hugely untapped, and we expect footballing entrepreneurs to see that gap, tap into it, make an investment out of it, but most importantly, create a sustainable entertainment world that will help shape.
The Football League boss, Emeka Ngama, hailed the governor for his interest in football and for also creating the enabling environment for football development in the state.
So we're sending them out as good and great ambassadors of Nigerian National League. That not to go to the Premier League and come back, but why shouldn't Kwara United win the Premier League, for goodness sake? Why can't Wiki Tonis or anything? They have what it takes. So, Your Excellency, that brings me to thank you for the great support that you've been giving to Kwara United. I was impressed by the crowd I saw yesterday. And also, for the 4th time, we are playing our matches under floodlight. It gives some sense of ambience, some color to the whole thing. And all thanks to His Excellency, who at very short notice, accepted to host us. We thank you.
And now outside Nigeria, tens of thousands of people have marched through central Moscow to honor opposition politician Boris Nemtsov, who was shot dead on Friday by yet to be identified gunman. They carried portraits of Nemtsov and banners saying, "I am not afraid." He had been due to lead an opposition march on Sunday, but his killing turned the event into a morning rally. Nemtsov allies have accused the Kremlin of involvement, but President Vladimir Putin condemned the murder as vile and vowed to find the killers. Opposition supporters gathered at a point not far from the Kremlin before marching past the spot on Great Moscow-Revsky Bridge when Nemtsov was killed. Several thousands of people have also marched in St. Petersburg. New CCTV pictures appear to show 3 UK schoolgirls on the Turkish leg on what was believed to have been their journey to join Islamic State in Syria. Shamima Begum and Amira Abbasi, both 15, and Khadija Sultana, 16, flew from London to Istanbul on 17 February. The images show them waiting at Bayrampaşa bus station later same day. Scotland Yard believes the Bethnal Green Academy students are now in Syria and are thought to have been met at the border by IS militants. Reports say the girls waited in the offices of 2 bus companies at the station before taking a bus to Offa, close to the Syrian border, on 18 February. From there, they are thought to have been driven to a border crossing point by people smugglers. Time codes on the CCTV images suggest the girls were at the bus station, which is on the European side of Istanbul, for nearly 18 hours. The 5 images were taken between 10:27 local time on 17th February and 13:22 on 18th February. A group of waiting Islamic State men immediately picked them up with cars, it said. They had flown from London's Gatwick Airport to Turkey after telling their parents they were going out for the day. And that's it on CoreTV Primetime News for tonight. But before we go, a recap of our major stories. President Goodluck Jonathan worshipped in Lagos Church, thanked the clergy for prayers for national development. The All Progressives Congress has accused the PDP and others of planning to engineer another shift in election dates. Finally, Lagos State Governor Babatunde Fashola decried stalling of Osborne Jetty construction by court case. As the 2015 general elections draw near, the quest for a violence-free election begins with you. Play your part. Many thanks for watching. I am Ebulomo Adekunle. Good night.